Hi, I'm Blake Wood, and I'm the Hardrock Lottery Coordinator, and I want to give you some background on what we're doing with the Hardrock Entry Lottery this year for the 2023 run. We have a problem at Hardrock. This year we had over 2,400 applicants. That sounds like a problem that every race would like to have, and we're very flattered that so many people want to run Hardrock, and we wish that every one of them could do so. But the problem is that for a variety of reasons, including Silverton infrastructure, our impact on other users in the area, and our desire to keep the Hardrock family aspect of the run, we have chosen to limit the field to 146. That means that we have more than 16 applicants for every starting slot in Hardrock. Because of that, we need to choose some way of deciding who gets into the run, and the way we've chosen to do it is by having an entry lottery. For the first 10 years of Hardrock, this wasn't necessary. Everybody who applied to Hardrock was able to get in and run for 10 years. We held our first lottery in 2003 in a single lottery pool where the number of tickets people got were based on their number of finishes and their number of DNFs and their number of DNSs, DNS being did not start. Basically, anybody who applied was qualified and for whatever reason did not actually start the race. We made a major change in 2013 when we went to our three-part lottery. We did that for a variety of reasons. We had one lottery for people who had never run Hardrock before, one lottery for people who had finished Hardrock 5 times or more. Previously, they had been just grandfathered into the run automatically, but we had a lottery for them then starting in 2013, and a third lottery for everybody else who didn't fit in either one of those two categories. This was done mostly because the number of runners that were applying who had never run Hardrock before was growing exponentially, and we needed some way of being able to ensure that some returnees could get in, and that the people who were applying multiple times had a way of increasing their chances. So we accomplished this by having, in the lottery for people who had never run Hardrock before, we double the number of tickets each year that they apply and don't get in, so that their chances of going in goes up with every year. This also has the effect of not completely locking out first-time applicants. Every year we get a few people that are applying for the first time to Hardrock, and they're able to get in. There will be a small number of them. Initially, we allocated 25% of the slots for people who had never run Hardrock before, and 75% for people who are coming back who had run it before. Over the years, all of our growth has been in the pool of people who have never run Hardrock. Initially in 2013, we had about 600 people in the never lottery pool, and this year it's more like 2,200. In contrast, the pool of returnees has held pretty constant for the past decade at about 240 runners. So because of this, over the years, we have slowly increased the proportion of runners that get into the race who have never run Hardrock before. As I said initially, when we first set up the three-part lottery in 2013, that was 25% of the field, and this year we've made it 50% of the field. For this year's lottery, we've made a change in that we've combined the old veteran lottery and the old everyone else lottery into a single lottery for people who have finished Hardrock before. So now we have 2 lotteries, one for people who have never finished Hardrock and another lottery for people who have finished Hardrock. And as I said, the number of slots are split 50-50, 73 slots in each one. So in the people who have finished Hardrock before, their number of tickets that they have in the lottery depends on the number of finishes they have, the number of times they've applied since the last time that they actually started the race, and service tickets, which I'll explain in a few minutes. In the never pool, for people who haven't run Hardrock before, we've kept our exponentially increasing number of tickets. plus service tickets as well. Now for this pool, service tickets really count for a lot because each service ticket basically counts the same as having applied and not gotten in. So every service ticket you get doubles the number of tickets you have in the lottery. So particularly for the Never pool, service to Hardrock counts for an enormous amount. Now about the service tickets, we have two kinds of service tickets, one-time tickets and perpetual tickets. One-time tickets are awarded for a substantial effort at the previous year's Hardrock. These are things like participating for both days of our trail work weekend, captaining an aid station, clearing the course, or doing some other major job at Hardrock. Those tickets only count for the next year that Hardrock is run. Now then, conversely to that, we have perpetual tickets. Perpetual tickets, there's a wider range of things that count. For instance, just working an aid station, or helping set up the gym, or helping cook the food, or something like that, all contribute to perpetual tickets. You get one perpetual ticket for each 5 years that you've helped out at Hardrock. And those do not expire, and you can use them as many times as you want, and you keep them forever. So if you volunteered at Hardrock, say 11 years, you'll get 2 extra service tickets that you can use every time you apply for Hardrock subsequently. A couple things, though, that don't count to those service tickets are pacing a runner or crewing for a runner, because that's service to the runner, not to Hardrock itself. Also, I should make clear that these service tickets are separate from our service requirement that we have for everybody who gets into Hardrock. We require that everybody that gets into Hardrock does service at some ultra. It doesn't have to be Hardrock for 8 hours, and that's just a requirement for getting in. That's completely separate from service tickets, and that doesn't provide any additional tickets in any subsequent lottery. Now, how do we actually conduct the lottery? After registration closes, I get a list of applicants from Ultra Sign Up. This year, there were over 2,400 of them. And I merge that into an existing spreadsheet that I have of the, I think, 7,600 people who have ever applied to Hardrock. And in that spreadsheet, I keep a record of how many finishes, DNFs, and DNSs they have, in addition to how many service tickets, perpetual service tickets in particular, they have. I merge those in so that I know that everybody that's applied for this year, I know what their record is at Hardrock, the number of times they've applied, what years they applied. And from that, I calculate the number of tickets they have in each of our 2 lotteries. And I put this together and publish this online. It's out there right now, my preliminary ticket count. It looks like this, and it explains how many tickets each person has. I put this out online so that people can look and make sure that their ticket count is correct. This also provides us a way to pick up if there's like somebody has changed their name or something like that, or when I try and compare them to somebody I already have in the database, and they go by Bob and I have them as Robert, or particularly for Asian and Hispanic names, sometimes the order of the names are reversed in Ultra Sign Up compared to what I've had before in my spreadsheet. Now, once I have the final ticket counts, I also calculate what the chances are somebody has of actually being selected in Hardrock as a function of the number of tickets. It looks something like this. This is one from last year. I'll be publishing this on Hardrock's website in a few days once I get the final ticket counts. A few days before the lottery, which this year is on Saturday, December 3rd, I upload the final ticket counts to Mark Ovison, who's also on the board of directors, and he developed Open Split Time, which we use for our timing and tracking of runners. And a function that he's built into that is to actually conduct the lottery, to randomly choose tickets. So after we upload all the ticket counts that I have into his program, we go through and it randomly chooses the tickets, and that's how we actually conduct the lottery. We used to actually pull physical tickets out of a jar, but once the ticket counts got so high as they are now, that became untenable. This year, for instance, there's over 23,000 tickets across all the lotteries. A major change that we made in last year's lottery was to ensure that the proportion of women that actually are chosen to start Hardrock is at least the same proportion as the proportion of women applying to Hardrock. We did this to correct some historical problems that we had where in the past women had not applied in large numbers to Hardrock and consequently had fewer tickets, and that was depressing the number of women that were getting into the race. They were less likely to be chosen in the lottery. So we put a floor on that equal to the proportion of women that applied. This year, that is almost 20%, 19.7%, which suggests that we want to choose at least 29 women out of the field of 146 to start Hardrock. Functionally, when we do the lottery, this means that we effectively have 2 lotteries for each of the 2 lottery pools. You know, we have a women's lottery and a men's lottery for the runners that have finished, and a women's lottery and a men's lottery for the runners who have never started Hardrock before. And then we maintain, when we pull these tickets and we pull a wait list, we maintain also a separate wait list for each of those 4 categories: men and women, finished and never finished before. And then if a woman withdraws, we choose a woman off the appropriate wait list. For instance, if the woman that withdrew originally was from the never lottery pool, we choose a woman off the never lottery wait list. And, you know, similarly, if a man withdraws, we choose a man off the appropriate wait list for the men. Now, there's a couple special classes of runners that we need to talk about that actually bypass the lottery. For quite a few years, we've made it so that the previous year's male and female winners bypass the lottery and they automatically get in the next year. This year, only Courtney is coming back. So we have last year's women's winner in this year's field bypassing the lottery. We also have 4 additional runners who are bypassing the lottery by virtue of having been deferred from last year, either a pregnancy deferral, which we started offering a few years ago, or we offered a deferral for runners that came down with COVID last year, you know, in the week before Hardrock. Basically to protect our field, the field of runners and all the aid station people. We offered them a deferral. So there's 4 of them deferred to this year. Now, in addition, when we do the lottery, we have 6 slots put aside to be chosen by race director Dale Garland. These slots are chosen by Dale. You know, he chooses people that will enhance the run in some way. The only restriction on it is that we insist that 3 of them be men and 3 of them be women, that be evenly split. Aside from that, it's up to Dale to choose them, and during the lottery itself, they're sprinkled throughout the lottery when we choose them, and we keep their names secret. So they just appear in the lottery like everyone else. Even though they have effectively bypassed the lottery. We do that both to protect Dale from undue lobbying for slots and to protect the runners that are chosen that way themselves from any pressure they might feel. If you add that all up, we have the 6 Dale's picks and the 5 runners that are bypassing the lottery through deferral or having won last year. We have 11 runners out of 146 that are bypassing the lottery this year. That's 7.5% of the field, which actually is pretty small compared to most other races. For example, I think Western States, about 1/3 of their field bypasses their lottery. So 7.5% of our lottery getting, or of our starting field getting in outside of the lottery is actually probably less than you would see in most races. Well, that's what I needed to tell you about this year's Hardrock Lottery. Remember, it'll be held on Saturday, December 3rd. We will be broadcasting via various social media platforms the tickets as we're picking them, so you'll be able to track ticket by ticket or by selection live how people are getting in. We've chosen it, as we always have in the past, to be the same day as Western States Lottery. So if you want to put together some kind of a Hardrock Western States Lottery party, that's something that there are a lot of those that'll be going on. If you're not putting on one yourself, you can probably find one among your friends somewhere. So with that, if you have any questions, you can email me at blake@hardrock100.com. And good luck getting into this year's Hardrock.